Hello and welcome back to 4:44 p.m. This is a little fun episode I'm going to do. It's more of just a sharing episode, but I basically wanted to talk about one obsession I have in particular with watches and my love of Seikos, especially Seiko divers. And that obsession would be one particular SKX diver, which is the SKX 173. So as you probably all know, the SKX divers were released in the mid-90s, I think towards the latter end, around 96. I'm not exact on all the dates and everything and stuff, but that's when my brother, who always liked dive watches, got me a SKX 173. Now, at the time, I didn't know that it was an SKX 173. I just knew it was a Seiko, and it was a dive watch, and I loved it. I wore it every day up until somewhere around the year 2002. At that point in time, I have no idea what happened to it. Went through a lot of things around that time period, and I moved around a lot. So there's a possibility I could have lost it. There's a possibility it could have gotten taken from some of the people that I associated with. Who knows? The point is that was my probably my favorite watch ever, and it is gone. So I've been on a mission for the past year trying to locate a 173. Even though I did locate one a few months back, that one is currently torn apart, as you can see here. I've already modded it once. I'm trying to keep it as stock looking as possible. This is a sapphire crystal I just put in it from DLW, and here's the dial. As you can see, it has a black day and day wheel, and it's also got a NH36A movement in it. I'm just waiting on a jumbo crown. I had a jumbo crown that I had already put on it, but I'm waiting on another one that I'm having specially engraved, which I'll show off at a later date. But this particular SKX 173 is one of the newer ones, made in, I think 2017 or 2015, somewhere around there. I forgot. Let me see here. I can look at the case back here. Okay, made in May of 2016. So I bought that off of a guy in San Diego that was in the Navy down there. He said he purchased it at the exchange store down there. So that was actually kind of cool that that's purchased from an exchange store. But the thing is that the 173 that I had was one of the earliest ones. It was probably, I got it in I think 96 when they probably first came out. So I've been trying to find an earlier model of that to be just like the one that I used to wear, and that my brother had the same model as well and wore at the same time. Reason being that I'm trying to find one of the earlier ones is that they're the ones that are made in Singapore before they switched the manufacturing over to the plant in Malaysia. They did that somewhere around 2004 or 2006 from what I've been told and read on some of the forums. So like I said, I'm not exact on the dates, but anyhow, I've been trying to find one. So I actually did find one, and this is it broken down right here, and I'll explain why it's broken down in a minute. But this one is one that I found for my brother because I wanted him to have one again as well, since he, hold on a second. Since he is the one that got me into him, because he had one, and we both wore them at the same time back in the late 90s. So anyway, this is also one of the newer ones. This one is from August of 2015, and this is his, and I'm actually in the process of modding it for him as well. Gonna keep it as original as possible, but he's getting a black day and day wheel, and actually a whole new movement, because this movement's a little messed up on the rotor, and it's just more cost effective to replace the whole entire movement, which I have here, and it's a 7S26C with the black day and day wheel. So that's gonna go in there. But yeah, they're just beautiful watches. I mean, look at that. It's just beautiful. Anyway, I just wanted to show this off a little bit more. this watch that I got for a really good deal. I got it off of a Reddit watch exchange from a guy back in Baltimore, Maryland. Really nice guy. It was in pretty dang good condition. I mean, didn't really have anything wrong with it. I've taken it though and cleaned it up all the way around and polished it. Some of the scratches out. I don't do like case refinishing or heavy polish, just light polishing to make it look brand new again, which is the same as what I did to this. This watch is the closest I've found yet to the watch that I had from the late 90s. This is a February of 1998 SKX 173. Now I got this one off of eBay. Just happened to pop up. I started doing a search and all of a sudden it's like the God spoke to everybody that owned one and said, hey, this guy's looking for 173s from that era, and we need to put them out there so he can see. So everything was original. I mean, everything was perfectly original on this watch, and it was in excellent condition for its age. I mean, it's 20 years old. It wasn't missing anything except for the original band, which it had. Hold on, I'll show you. It had I believe it's called the Z22, which is the wrong band for this watch. This is the band that was on it. So, sorry. I need to get better at my camera skills here. Anyhow, I don't really like these Seiko bands. I think they're god awful. And the bead blasted buckle does not match the watch, obviously. It's polished finish. So anyhow, this is the actually this is a Z22. This is a, well, for some reason Seiko calls these Z22s, both of them, but anyhow, this is the flatter version. I don't know if somebody knows what the actual name of these are, then let me know. But anyhow, this is what would have came with this watch, and I have a couple of them, and they're original Seikos. Oops, I went the fat spring bar. Those are genuine Seiko fat spring bars. So anyhow, you can see on here, it's got the little Seiko wave there. Okay, so the watch was completely original, had nothing wrong with it. In fact, as soon as I got it out of the box, when the guy shipped it to me, it started running. Like I said, it's immaculate. The only thing that was wrong with it was, of course, the gaskets needed to be replaced. I did a nice polishing out of any scratches that were on there. You can see there's still a few, but like I said, I don't do like case refinishing or a heavy duty polish. So I just clean it up and make it look as new as I can, which this one, I mean, looks like it's only been worn a couple of times after polishing it up. So like I said, it just needed new gaskets, which I went ahead and replaced the, actually the bezel gasket was still pretty good. So I just cleaned it and then put silicone on it to recondition it and rejuvenate it and lubricate it. And that gasket is still good. And since it's not a sealing gasket, it's not that important. The case back gasket, I got a new one of those right here, and that's gonna get greased up and put back in it. And then I got a new crystal gasket, and the reason I even bothered popping out the crystal is because the original crystal had a couple of pit marks in it, and I happen to have a almost nearly flawless new SKX crystal, factory Hardlex Seiko. So I put that in there. I cleaned everything else up, and I did, of course, a new crown gasket on there. So went ahead and did all that, and I'm gonna put it all back together. But yeah, I just was really excited about that. The fact that this is as close to the original one that I had. And like I said, the difference being is that these were all made in Singapore, and you can see on here it says movement is Singapore. So the movements were actually made in the Singapore factory as well. I've heard that there are some that are really rare. I don't know if this is true or not, but I've heard that there are some that are really rare that were during the transition phase, and some of them will say Singapore on the dial still, but Malaysia on the case back for the movement. This one though is a Singapore. And I don't know if you can see right there, but that says Singapore instead of Malaysia, like the newer ones say right there. So anyhow, I'm gonna go ahead and put this together, and then I'll try and throw a shot on here. This is actually ran over. I'll throw a shot on here of the originals that me and my brother wore, as well as the one that I put together. I'm actually trying to find him early, I don't know if I mentioned that already, an early one from the late 90s, and refinish it as well for him, so that we can both have one that's a newer one that we wear all the time that's been modded, and then one that's completely original from the very beginning of the SKXs. Anyhow, this is by far my favorite Seiko dive watch. I think it's just beautiful. I love the square markers on it. I love the second hand, the way that it's got the round, you know, ball at the tip there instead of, you know, on the back. There is another SKX that a lot of you probably haven't heard about, and it's called the SKX 399, and it actually, I believe, is just like the 173, but has the 007 style second hand. So I don't know, those are kind of cool too. I'd like to have one, but not as much as trying to get my hands on all the SKX 173s there are. I mean, I'm so obsessed with these 173s that I actually purchased just a dial. I mean, it's one of the original dials. Somebody decided to mod their 173, and it ended up being one of the early ones, and they were selling the original dial, so I got my hands on it. I don't know. I've got an idea what I'm going to do with that, though. That's going to come later. But anyhow, yeah. I mean, I want to buy up all the 173s that I can, but I can't own them all. So I guess the whole purpose of me sharing this with you is that hopefully you guys out there in the Seiko loving world, Seiko collecting world, especially for Seiko divers, will get on it and try to rescue as many of these 173s as you can and save them from getting destroyed. That's what I'm trying to do. But like I said, I mean, I'm selling off a lot of the watches that I have right now, if anyone's interested, because I'm trying to pay for this little 173 obsession that I'm currently on, and also because I've got two really awesome mod projects coming up that I can't wait to share with you guys. So anyhow, thanks for checking out this video. Sorry it ran so long. For the YouTube version, I'm just going to put it all in one video, so you're not going to have it split up into several parts like I'm going to do for my Instagram TV one. But anyhow, thanks for watching, and I'll throw some shots on here of the finished product and the originals that we had. So all right, thanks.